I'm Taylor Field here in the Lower East Side of New York City. I've written a novel called Squat. Now in the Lower East Side, squat is not really a verb, it's a noun. You live in a squat. Sometimes you don't care squat. You don't do squat. Maybe you don't even know squat. I chose to tell this story in a novel format because as a pastor here for the last 20 years, I'd had a chance to think and reflect on the experience. When I first got here to the Lower East Side, I was overwhelmed. There were trash cans on fire, people walking around with hatchets in their belts, abandoned buildings up and down the road. This place here, there's an abandoned building. The place next door was. Behind me was a tent city. In front there's more abandoned buildings. But in reality, there's no such thing as an abandoned building in the Lower East Side because each one was occupied. And they are called squats. They are occupied by squatters. And so as I work with people that lived in squatter buildings, abandoned buildings, I began to realize that God was working there in a special way. And that's what I wrote about in this book. In the Lower East Side, the name's an important thing. It tells who you are. It's often not your legal name. Squid is a character. He's a young man. He's had a difficult time, and I met many people like this here. Ran away from home and came and lived in abandoned buildings here. And I wanted to talk about what that felt like to be someone in that situation, to see the world through those eyes. Unc is a person who wears a blanket, drinks a lot, begs, and reads a lot. He's someone that I've seen a lot of, that kind of person. And so as I talked about Unc, I really wanted him to help share some of the challenges when someone from faith comes here. And he would challenge the people that had faith in Christ and expressed a very common opinion from the people in this neighborhood. Rachel is a young woman who has a heart to serve others. She works in a mission in the inner city, has a great sense of humor, and has that unique ability to make people feel like they're a person. There's a person named Jason who comes to help out for the summer. And I think that Jason epitomizes both the best and worst in us. His desires to do something good for others. He's challenged while he's here to think about what he's really doing. Is it for himself or for other people? He epitomizes some of the conflicts in a lot of people and some of the conflicts, quite honestly, in myself. In the novel, one of the key questions is, will Squid make it through the day? And one of my aims was for people to see, even though his experience is very different, that there are some issues that are actually the same. As he's in a search really for his own identity and the treasures of himself and his relationship with God. And those issues are real here in the Lower East Side, as with other readers that may be reading the book. As I look back at the book now, I do see myself in a number of the characters. I see myself in Squid, being somewhat obsessive-compulsive about things, being concerned about what people think of me, being nervous about things in life. I see myself in Jason, wanting to help others, but also feeling all the conflicts of that, of not wanting to stay too long in that place. I see myself in Unc, who is someone who really just wants to be left alone and read. And I see myself in Rachel, that sometimes if you can find some reason to laugh about things, you can survive a lot. At the end of the book, for me it is a redeeming ending. But it's not unqualified victory. There's difficulties and loss. And for me, that's a little bit what life is like. Writing the book was during a changing time in my life, and it was a process of looking back so I could look forward. Some of the things I look back at are not happy. Most of the squatters that I knew at that time are already dead. But also as I wrote about it, I felt a great deal of gratitude because I think that in each one of these places, God's grace came through. Sometimes when things are so terrible and difficult, that you continue to live as a Christian, but it's a muffled victory. One of the purposes of the novel is for Christians to see again some of the things that are right around us. You know, where I'm sitting right now, we are about 20 blocks from Wall Street, where some of the greatest resources flow from all the world. It is puzzling to me that here, just 20 blocks away, I see children that can't read, people with very few resources, even though they're very close. And I doubt that the people that are there at Wall Street really realize what's happening. Proverbs chapter 21:13 says, if you close your ears to the cry of the poor, then you will cry out and not be heard. I do think that's one of the calls and one of the purposes of the novel, is to help Christians think again about some of the things that are happening right around us. This isn't happening in a foreign country. It's happening right next to us. And my prayer would be that as a person reads this, perhaps it would open their eyes a little bit to the people in their neighborhood that may be the forgotten people or the ones who live in the twilight.